Good morning and afternoon. Good afternoon and welcome back to another video here from the Off-Grid Garage in sunny hot Australia. We have, hang on, this is the ZKE-Tech battery I'm still testing. We have 24 amps outside. This is actually less amps than we have temperature outside. Anyway, in this video we don't want to talk about the ZKE-Tech battery or any other battery. We want to talk about the ZKE or ZKE tester, ZKE-Tech tester, the big Chinese cracker, the EBC A40L, and the smaller brother EBC A20. So anyway, Michael has sent me an email a while back and said, well, you need to be aware of the ZKE tester. They have a major safety problem or safety concern. And he explained everything in his email, and I want to do the test today and see if this is happening with my two testers as well. In his email he was only talking about the big Chinese cracker, the A40L, the 40 amp charge and discharge tester, but I want to do the same test with a small EBC A20 tester as well. And the problem he found out about is only if the tester is connected to the computer. If you use the tester just by itself and program the charge and discharge cycle within the tester, there's no issue, the tester works just fine. The problem is when it is being connected to a computer for external control and collecting data and creating these beautiful graphs. So, and as always, we have our test battery here connected to the big Chinese cracker, the 40 amp tester, positive and negative, including the voltage sense cables. I have also connected the USB cable on the back of the machine. So, and then we start our EB tester software. Man, it has been a while since we used this software, right? We should do more battery testing here. Actually, we will. Very, very soon. So we select the right COM port and connect. And we can now see here the voltage of our connected battery cell. And we can now tell the tester to constant voltage charge to 3.65 volts with a cut-off current of 5 amps and a test current of 40 amps. And then we can click on start and it will start the tester for us through the PC software. And at the same time we can see these beautiful graphs coming up, current and voltage, and we have used this 1,000 times here on the channel. So what Michael has found out now is that the charger is now under PC control. You can see this in display. It says PC there. It is connected to a computer and all the control is coming from the computer. So he found out that if the tester loses connection to the computer while testing, it just keeps doing the task whatever it is set to. So in this case it would keep charging with 40 amps. But here's the problem. Not only until we hit 3.65 volts, no, it would keep charging forever. This stop voltage we have set is only here in the computer and it's controlled and monitored from the computer software, not from the tester. So whenever the computer crashes now within your test, there's a good potential that you will fully destroy, fully overcharge your battery cell. And today we want to test this out, fully charge this battery cell and see if the tester actually turns off at 3.65 volt without the computer being connected anymore. And I want to do the same at the bottom, discharging the battery all the way down to 2.5 and see if the tester keeps discharging if it loses connection to the computer. And afterwards I want to do the same with the small one, with the A20 tester, and see if it also keeps charging and discharging without the computer. Because this would be really a major safety concern with these devices then. And you as the user or tester need to be aware of that. Okay, I know this battery cell is about 60% charged, so it will take another hour or so until we hit 100%. We are at 3.4 volts at the moment. So I guess I'll be back once the battery gets full and then we either turn off the computer or just pull the USB cable and see if the tester actually turns off at 3.65 volts or if it keeps charging until the battery cell explodes. Yeah, this is why I have my red warning t-shirt on. Okay, my friends, we have now reached the 3.5 volts of our battery cell. I have actually reduced the charge current from 3.65 to 3.5 because I wanted to be live on camera here when we hit the 3.65 volts. So let's go in here and stop the test for a moment. And then we change this one here back to 3.65 volts and we continue our test. So we are at 3.5 volts now, and this is already like 99.5% state of charge. So it will not take long to hit the 3.65 volts now. So we can see here nicely how the curve goes now up from around 3.45. There's 3.45. We can see the voltage is actually increasing in the battery, and now it's shooting up. 3.65 we have reached now. We should see the voltage going constant. There it is. And now the current is tapering off down to 0, but we will cut off at 5 amps and then the battery is 100% fully charged. So this is how it normally works, right? But apparently this control mechanism to stop charging or to hold the voltage constant at 3.65 volts is coming from the computer software, not from the tester itself, if it is connected via USB to the computer. And we want to test if this is true. Okay, let's discharge the battery again a bit, and then we do the test again and pull the USB cable before we hit the 3.65 volt and see what is happening. Okay, so I'm now discharging the battery with 40 amps down to 2.5 volts, but I'm running the test only for 1 minute, and then the tester will turn off automatically. Okay, there we go. There was 1 minute, and we will go back to constant voltage charging. 40 amps, 3.65 volts. Cut-off current is 5 amps. And now we start the charging again, and then we pull the USB cable and see what happens. Okay, it is now charging. And now we simulate losing connection to the computer. So it is under PC control. You can see the graph is coming up, and let's disconnect the USB cable. It is disconnected now. It is still charging with 40 amps. You can see the voltage here rising. The computer doesn't show anything anymore. It just stopped. Can you believe? Exactly in the moment when the charger actually stopped itself, the battery was empty and recording stopped. Okay, let's quickly redo this test and I'll show you what happened. Okay. We are back online now, this time with a full battery in the camera. Charging with 40 amps to 3.65 volts, 5 amp disconnect current, and let's start. Alright, computer has now started the tester to do exactly that, and I'll disconnect the USB again. There, recording on the computer stops, but we are keeping charging. But it seems like there is a function that the tester stops charging at around 3.6, 3.7 volts, like a safety function. Let's observe this again with a full battery in the camera. 5.5, 3.6 almost. 7, yeah, around 3.67 I could see, and now the charger has stopped, has terminated the current. So there is a safety circuit inside the charger actually to prevent your battery from exploding if your computer crashes or you disconnect the USB cable. Okay, I would say the big Chinese cracker, the EBC A40L, is safe to use even when your computer crashes or you disconnect the USB. Let's test the smaller EBC A20 as well and see if it has such a safety function as well. Okay, I'm doing exactly the same here as well. We are discharging the battery with 20 amps. This is the maximum the A20 can do, 20 amps. Makes sense, right? To 2.5 volts, but only for 1 minute to discharge it a bit, and then we start charging again to 3.65 and see if the tester turns off when we disconnect the cable. Okay, I have set all the parameters now. So we're charging with 5 amps. This is the maximum charging current this little tester can do. To 3.65 volts, cutoff is 1 amp, but we will disconnect the USB cable once we start charging. So let's start. Okay, so this should take a bit longer now because we are charging with 5 amps only. Okay, I would say let's disconnect the USB cable. There's my proof. It says PC connected. And the computer software stops running. But here we are still charging with 5 amps, 3.466. And now we have to wait until we hit the 3.65. Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, 3.6 volts. .64, 3.65. Oh, look at this. This one actually stops at 3.65 volts, even with the computer disconnected now. Oh, that is very impressive. Okay, so there's no safety concern here either. And now the current tapers off until 1 amp, I guess. And then the whole charging process stops. Okay, 1.05. Yep, stops at 1 amp charge current. Everything is fine. That's interesting. Okay, well, we got this all set up here and the battery is fully charged. I'll do the same test with a big charger again, but here we limit the charge current to 5 amps as well. I just want to see if it actually overshoots to 3.65 volts because we are charging so fast with 40 amps at this point of time then. Let's reduce the charge current here and repeat this test. Okay, so I have now set the big tester with the same values as the small tester. We are charging with 5 amps up to 3.65 volts and cutoff is 1 amp. And we start process from the computer initiated. Everything seems fine. And we are disconnecting the USB again. So losing connection to the computer. And the tester of course keeps running. Okay, we have reached 3.6 volts. Charging still with 5 amps. 3.65 we have reached. And we can see the same behavior as with the small one. So it actually keeps the voltage at 3.65 volts and the current is tapering off. And I think at 1 amp we will see the battery disconnecting as well. Which could take a moment now. It's absorbing, but again the battery is not being overcharged, even the USB connection is disconnected to the computer, so there is actually a safety mechanism built in both testers, which is fantastic. Alright, and it has finished charging at 3.65 volts, 1 amp disconnect, everything is good. Okay, up to the next test. Okay, so I'm now going to discharge the battery fully to 2.7 volts with 40 amps. So this should take around, it's 100 amp per hour divided by 40. That's 2.5 hours around. It is now 5 p.m., 7:30 p.m. It will be a late night show, but I'll be back then. Yeah. All right, it is now 8 p.m. And we have now discharged the battery to 2.7 volts. So let me change this now to 2.5. 2.50. And we continue our test, right? Yep, everything is connected to the computer still. Okay, let's start. And disconnect the computer. And see what is happening. So we're discharging with 40 amps to 2.5 volts. And 2.55. We're almost there. Will it stop? Or does it keep discharging? No, it stops at 2.5 as well. So the safety mechanism has kicked in. Perfect. Okay, let's quickly try this one again with the same settings and see if this one turns off, but I'm almost certain it will. So I have now recharged the battery just a bit, and we are going to discharge with 5 amps down to 2.5 and see if the tester turns off as well when we disconnect the USB. Okay, we're discharging right now. And let's pull the pin. That's it, disconnected. Keeps discharging. And what was that? Ah, it has actually turned off. It doesn't make a sound. I was waiting for the click, but it doesn't make a click. It just stops discharging. Okay, perfect. We could see the off actually there. So it also stops at 2.5 volt. It doesn't discharge any further, even when you disconnect the USB cable to your computer. So all good. But this is actually not what Michael or Micha did. He didn't charge or discharge to the extremes of the battery cell. He set the tester to 3.2 volts and then discharged the battery while he was pulling the cable out, and it didn't stop at 3.2 volts, and it kept discharging potentially down to 2.5 volts, but it didn't stop at the programmed threshold. And this is exactly what I want to test in the last test here. So I've just recharged the battery for a moment. Discharge constant current. Let's do the 20 amps and we go here to 2.7 volts and let's see what it does. Okay, so it is now discharging. I probably should turn this up to 40, right? Adjust. Okay, discharging with 40 amps now and disconnecting the USB cable so the computer freezes basically. And now we have to watch the display. So 2.7 is what we told the tester to do, but potentially it goes further down to 2.5 and then stops discharging. Let's see. Okay, oh, it even stops at 2.7 volts. That's exactly what I have programmed. So it actually saves the settings inside the tester as well, not only on the computer. So I cannot confirm, well, it's not happening to me, obviously. Well, sorry, Michael, I couldn't confirm your concerns about the safety of these testers when the connection to the computer fails while the test is running. So both testers, the EBC A40 and the EBC A20, have passed the test at 3.65 volts and 2.5 volts. They're both turning off regardless if the computer is connected or not. So 110% safe. Well, and if you haven't got one of these amazing ZKE testers yet, you can always click on the link under my videos and get one. Because these testers are freaking amazing and also super safe, as we know now. And by the way, have you seen the capacity of our test battery here? When I just discharged it from 3.65 volts down to 2.7 volts, it was 108 ampere hours. 108 ampere hours for a 100 ampere hour lithium iron phosphate battery. And this is our test battery we have used here 100 million times on the channel, abused in all directions. And then it was sitting here on the shelf with extended leaf for the last almost 12 months. And it is still measuring full capacity, 108 ampere hours. These batteries are f***ing amazing, right? Okay guys, I think so far this video from tonight. We have now tested all the safety functions of both ZKE testers here. As always guys, thank you so much for watching. Thanks for all your amazing support, and thanks Micha for sending this email. That was a very interesting test, and good to know these devices are super safe now. So if you want to keep sending these emails to me, but please do not expect a reply, as I'm getting like 5 to 10 emails a day and it is impossible to reply to all of them. But I really appreciate the time and effort you put into sending these emails to me. So thank you very much for that. And until the next video, you stay charged, stay safe, as well as these two testers. And thanks again for watching. See you then. Bye-bye. Yeah, pretty safe. Not bad.